My name is Zach. This is Zach Talk Shop. And we're talking today. Let's talk about success. Let's start talking about success. What does success mean? When you're an HVAC owner, how do you quantify success? I'm not here to tell you what success is. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm here to kind of talk through it, try to figure out what it is. Because I think you can have several different ideas of what success might be. Here's one idea. You got the guy who loves to work. Now, some people, myself included, like to work. We like getting our hands dirty, or it doesn't have to be getting hands dirty. You can be going into the office doing something. You could be doing whatever. But we like to keep moving. We like to earn. And we like to have a purpose. And that purpose could be work. I just like to have something to do, something to accomplish. I don't know. I just like doing it. Earlier today, I was just taking some old, dingy, rusty wrenches and cleaning them off. What I did was I took them out. I took the old Milwaukee grinder, put a little cut brush on it. Cut brush that's had its better day, so it wasn't biting into anything. Basically, it had been beaten up quite a bit. And by cut brush, I mean this is one of those wire cut brushes you strip paint off with. Took it to those wrenches, cleaned them up a little bit. Some of them came from my famous vinegar bath. If you've seen, I don't know, some of you might have seen it, some of you might not have. The vinegar bath is just a vat of vinegar where these tools sit for about a week or two, or maybe longer if I forget about them. And it eats all the rust off of them. And if you leave them in there, it'll pretty much just eat everything off of them. So you got to be careful. But taking these things out, these classic tools, and cleaning them up, and then when you uncover all the junk, you take the junk off, you uncover these company names. Like, you don't see them when you first start, like Craftsman, but the real Craftsman, the USA from back in the day. That's a purpose. That's a goal. You can uncover the past. You can find some cool vintage stuff. And I like to work. Working is, to me, fulfilling. So a lot of guys, their goal is to earn enough money to take care of their family, and they can just keep on working. They can keep on doing their thing until they just, bleh, they're dead. Is that too graphic? Until they just go, bleh, we're dead. Hope that's better. Hope that noise was long enough. Let me try one more time. I'm coming, Jesus. And then they can, enjoy their time with Jesus after that, hopefully. Some guys want to get out of the game. Some guys just want to make a ton of money and get out of the game and enjoy life. See, the trick is for those guys, the working guy, he's already met his goal by working. As long as he can take care of his family, he's good to go. But the guy who wants to get out of the game, he's up against the clock. Because you don't want to get out of the game when you're old and gray and can't play golf, or you can't go on a cruise or buy a Bugatti, or whatever your goal might be. The guys that want to get out of the game, to me, a lot of times they're the guys who want to be super filthy rich. So they're up against the clock. And then you get into the integrity problem. Because once you're up against the clock saying, hey man, I'm 30. I got to be out of the game by the time I'm 40. So I got to do what I got to do to earn. Sometimes that's where you get into problems with earning the wrong way. Now, I'm not saying these guys are dishonest. I'm saying that you putting yourself in a position to be dishonest. That doesn't mean you are. You just put more pressure on yourself. And I'm the type to believe that everybody has the potential to do the wrong thing. Everybody does. Because if you don't have any potential of doing something bad, then you doing good things aren't really good, because there's no comparison. That might seem kind of like a bunch of gobbledygook, but just let's listen like this. If a person is courageous in the face of danger, you're in a battle, the enemy is coming towards you, there's massive troops coming towards you to make you die, and the guy runs out there to fight them. Okay, let's say he's a sociopath and doesn't know fear at all. He doesn't feel any fear. He's just going to fight. Well, he's not courageous because he doesn't feel any fear. You can't have courage if you don't have the capability of having fear. You have to be afraid to be courageous. Basically, in my opinion, that's how that works. So you have to have the capacity to do evil for something you do to be good. Wow, that's real profound sounding. Somebody let's clip that and make that into some kind of thing we could put at the end of a book and attribute to me. You have to have the capacity for evil to have the capacity for good. La, 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 the more you know. All right, so that's a really great information right there. So you get yourself in a position to test your integrity. And here's what happens. You want to earn money, and you want to earn it fast, which means you want to earn a lot of it in big chunks as often as you can. I think that's where we get into the guys that have these detailed sales meetings. It's like, how many dollars per call are you earning? Some of that's chance, and some of that's over time will become more predictable, but in the short term, that'd be more chance, because just imagine you had 10 calls, 3 of them were changing compressors, and 4 of them were change-outs, then you look like an all-star. Well, if you have a bunch of capacitors that gone bad for 10 calls in a row, you look like you're not earning hardly nothing. See, that's the problem. That's why we get into guys that say, well, it's not a blown capacitor, it's a locked rotor. You don't want to be that guy. And how you be that guy is putting yourself in a position to be that guy. So don't put yourself in the position. The position is you're working yourself against the clock. Perhaps you work on a commission. If your welfare depends on your commission, then you are more likely to want to make something that is small appear to be larger. If you get paid by the hour, then what do you care? If you get a salary and it doesn't matter what you find, then you're going to be straight up about it. If you get commission and you only get the big check if you find something that's big, you're going to be looking for some big stuff. You're going to be wanting all the blower wheels cleaned. You're going to be making sure you have the fin comb available. We all know what we're talking about here. We can all dance around this. But if someone's, dangling your livelihood through commission, then you're going to be like, yeah, we definitely need to straighten all these fins out for you to get maximum airflow. We need to clean your condenser. I don't even know what condition your blower wheel's in. Do you know how little airflow your blower will? And this is the quote. Your blower wheel airflow will decrease by X percentage with only 1/8 inch of dirt. And I'm sure that there are guys out there who test that. But you know what? Most people don't check that at all. Most people don't know what that information even means. Have you ever checked a blower wheel before and after cleaning for CFM output? Most of you would say no. But if you were really concerned about blower wheels having dirt on them, wouldn't you check it so you could confirm that what you did meant anything? Because sometimes, I'm just theorizing, some of the before and afters would be so close it wouldn't be worth the cost of doing the cleaning. I'm just spitballing out here. You guys can let me know what you think by sending me hateful emails. My email address is hushblah@gmail.com. If you want to send hateful emails, just send it to hushblah@gmail.com, and that's where you'll find me. If you run a home service business like painting, contracting, lawn care, or cleaning, your to-do list is endless. From hiring staff to mountains of paperwork, not to mention doing the actual work that pays the bills. Jobber is a mobile and online app that helps you organize your business and look professional. With Jobber, you can quote jobs, schedule your crew, invoice, and get paid all in one place. Try it free today at getjobber.com/shoptalk. Navac is a leader in battery-powered industrial HVAC automotive tools. They've released vacuum pumps, and now they have the break-free cordless power tube bender. The NTB7L runoff lithium batteries takes all the pain out of bending copper and makes it automated and carefree. You can find out more at navacglobal.com. TreeTech Tools has a wide variety of great test equipment. It covers industrial emissions, cooling and heating service, building performance, and electrical testing. Those and so many more. TreeTechTools.com. Use the Shop Talk discount code to support this show and save 8% off at TreeTech Tools. Are you in search of gas? Well, that sounds like an odd question, but many heating technicians are, in fact, in search of gas. And you want to find it with this Yellow Jacket 69310 combustible gas leak detector. Safety first, find those leaks quickly. It has a fast response time, quality product because it comes from Yellow Jacket. You can find out more at yellowjacket.com. So here's something I was thinking about as well in the area of let's understand what's going on in life here as far as our HVAC company. So I was thinking about if you were a one-man company. I was a one-man company for a long, long time, probably about 10 years or so. I was a one-man company just doing one-man company service calls, doing installs every now and then, but mainly just service calls. My insurance, and this will factor into what we're trying to figure out. We're going to figure out why people lowballing cost, how badly they're hurting themselves. So here, let me actually go back in time a little bit. So in 2009, I thought the proper service rate for my service calls was $50 an hour. Now, everyone listening to this, or at least 95%, already know that that's way too low. But I had just started. I had no idea what I was doing. And $50 an hour sounded really awesome because I was making $20 an hour. And if I was making $20 an hour and all of a sudden I'm charging $50 an hour, then I got quite a big raise, right? Well, obviously there's costs that go into that. So one of the costs is the fact that your $20 an hour would technically be coming out of that $50. That's a big 40% chunk right off the bat. So let's take my old $50 number and let's bring it up to where it is. An awful number. It's just the worst ever. Which I figured out later on in the game, and by the time I was done, it was closer to $100 an hour. In fact, I think it was like $100, $95 an hour or something like that. So I'm working at $50 an hour. People are getting the bargain of the lifetime. Probably not actually. When you factor in my skill level, they're probably getting what they pay for. So $50 an hour, and I used to make $20 an hour, so now we're down to $30 an hour. We're going to pay the service technician. I didn't see myself as two parts, company and technician. I saw myself as one big lump, and I get to keep my $50. But technically, I had to pay myself. So $20 right there, and we're down to $30. So you got to have insurance when you're a business, and you have to have licensure and all that stuff. But it's not that expensive to get your license renewed. I had an H3 license, which is it's a contractor license for installing systems under 15 tons, and that's a North Carolina thing. Now there's different groups of H3, but back in the day there was just one H3. So I could do commercial work or I could do residential work 15 tons and under. Well, that's all well and good. It only costs about $100 or so. They don't require continuing education anymore, which is weird. I don't really like regulation. I think regulation is bad, but continuing education for contractors probably is a good idea. And the fact that it didn't require it any longer was it was just weird to me. It was strange that they deregulated, which is so unlike government. So, didn't have to do that. So, just paying about $100 a year. So maybe, I don't know, less than $1 per working day going to licensure. You do 4 calls a day, let's say, then, geez, a quarter of every call is going to licensure. So we're down $20 and 25-cent total cost. That didn't make a big difference. But you need general liability insurance. And if you're going to work for somebody like a company, like you're going to do sub work for them, or you're going to work like I had an apartment building I took care of that had requirements for general liability. Typically, the requirement that I ran into was $1 million of umbrella coverage, but sometimes what I heard was $2 million was more of a standard, and it might be standard now to have $2 million. But I had $1 million umbrella coverage, and it ended up costing me, the first time I got it, it was only like $600, but I think it went up the last time I got it. I'm trying to remember what the cost was. I think it was something like, let's say it was $900, general liability. So if I'm paying $900 a year and I'm working 250 days a year, then it's about, a little bit over $3 a day that I'm working goes to paying for that insurance. So if I do 4 calls, let's say it's even $1. So we're up to $21.25. Okay, That's fine. That's all well and good. So we have workman's compensation insurance. And over my years in the business, it grew in cost over and over again until it became kind of a pain in the butt. It started out really cheap, like $1,000 or less, and I would have workman's compensation. I would have a ghost policy where it didn't cover anything. It would just satisfy the requirement of having workman's compensation. It's the dumbest thing in business. You have a policy that says you have workman's compensation, but it actually doesn't do anything. What a crock of crap is what that is. So with this crock of crap policy, it costed low, but after a while, they said you couldn't do that anymore. I forget what the deal was with it, but they wouldn't allow me to do that any longer. And some of the people I work for, I needed to have a more substantive policy. So I'd get something, let's say it costs $2,500 a year. So now we're to $2,500. That's basically $10 a day and $250 per call. So $250 per call. And remember, if you don't do any calls that day, then you know what? The number keeps going up and up. You have to earn more and more for every call. So $250, that takes us up to around, let's say we're at $24. We're going to have to push it up a little bit more because we're not always going to have 4 calls a day. And theoretically, some of you guys are saying, well, you might have 6 calls a day, but you can't really plan for that. You got to plan for having less. So we're at $24. We're already halfway to $50. We haven't even, the boss hasn't made any money yet. But we got a van. We got that van, and that van cost, it's expensive. Vans are expensive, guys. If you want to finance one, that sucker might be good grief. If you want something nicer and newer, that could be $400 a month, $500 a month, who knows? I never paid that much, but I never had a really new van either. But your company, you're going to want a new van. So let's say you're paying $400 a month. Now all of a sudden you're paying $400 a month. That's $4,800 a year. With that 250 days of working, that's a couple bucks now. Right? Now you're getting closer to $30 because you got to pay for that gas to every single call too. I was in a position where we might drive, I might have to drive 45 minutes to a call. If you're driving 45 minutes to a call, it might be 30, 40 miles away, highway driving. So if you're driving 30 miles in that van, that gas efficient van of yours, this ain't no Transit Connect either. This is an actual work truck. So let's say we had my F-350 and we're driving 30 miles. Well, you might use 3 gallons of gas there and back. 3 gallons of gas is $10. Depending where you are, it's more. So that's $20 per call. It's not always going to be that bad though. But let's say you use $10 per call. You've gone from 30 to 40. There's only $10 left on it for the boss man. I don't know about that. That ain't a whole lot of room right there. There's a lot of overhead you have to pay for. You got a building. You got lights to keep on. You got all sorts of stuff. Your 50's gone. You got to add all those little things together. All those tiny little itty bitty things. The cash flow things. Supply house things. That's why $50, it won't work. And all those costs that I said, you could inflate those really quickly. That's going to change with where you're at, how many calls you do, how much you pay somebody. Because service techs making $20 an hour. There's a lot of service techs making more than that. You make $25 an hour, $30 an hour. That's why you got to charge so much money. You got to charge $100 an hour. Because if you go charging just a fraction of that, you're going to end up losing your butt. Because every bump in the road, because what I've described here are costs that you have no matter what. But there's going to be breakdowns in that van. The van transmission goes bad out of warranty because you're driving it all to hell. There ain't going to be any warranty left on it. That might cost $5,000 to repair. You got to have that money on hand. That means you have to accrue some wealth or have some money in advance. These are the things you think about as a business owner. This is the gritty part of business ownership. You got to think about the numbers. I was always good at numbers, but always bad at implementation. It's like you know what to do, but then you just don't do it. You guys be better than me. You be good at numbers and implementation, and read one sales book. That's it, one sales book. How to win friends and influence people. That's the one.